chose SPU because it had a really good mix of the academic and theoretical along with the practical training aspects in the TESOL program. Good solid base in phonology and morphology and syntax and teaching methods. But at the same time, good classes in just teaching methods and technology in teaching and reading and writing, all of these things. So I really liked that combination. And I also wanted to get my certification in K through 12 teaching. And that's in a different department, but SPU allowed me to combine those two so that I got my master's in TESOL, and then at the same time I was able to add my certification on, which was a significant draw for me.
There's nothing more amazing than being able to be a primary care provider with a nurse's heart. And people ask me all the time why I didn't just go into medical school, and I always say, you know what, the big difference is you have a nurse's heart, a nurse's bedside manner, and you get to play the role of a provider. And I don't think anything beats that in healthcare.
The most challenging part of my MA in theology would have to be having to deconstruct everything that I had learned before. So coming in with my Pentecostal and charismatic background and thinking, you know, from that frame of reference, and then having to come into a classroom environment where you're being challenged with scripture, with Christian history, challenged with theology and ethics, all in the same time, and having to learn all those new things all at the same time. So I think for me that was the biggest challenge, was to deconstruct so that I can reconstruct in a very safe environment ways in which I could think about God in a new and a fresh way.
I got to tell you that when you hit those walls, which you will, you're just spent. You've got clients you don't know how to help. You've got papers you don't know how you're going to write. Just know that you'll get through it. It's going to be a challenge at times, but you'll look back on this experience being glad you did it.
It was challenging, but worthwhile, and it was also interesting. The fact that I went to a historically black school, and I am from Jamaica, where 98% of the population is black. So this was a different setting for me, and so it was quite interesting. The coursework was quite challenging and hectic, but I learned how to juggle being with my job, a full-time teacher, being a wife, and a student at the same time.
What I wasn't expecting to be a challenge was delving into my own, self-exploration, and as learning to be a therapist, yes, you need to learn the techniques and learn the theories behind the techniques, but at the same time you have to learn about what makes yourself tick as well. And that was something that I wasn't expecting, but I really was challenged by it. I found it probably the most rewarding as well, though I think that it was a pleasant surprise that I was able to learn so much about myself as a person and as a budding professional.
A piece of advice would be just self-care. I mean, it's demanding, it's stressful. It's worth it, but it's very stressful. But the staff, the faculty are here, and so use them, and don't be afraid to call on them, to ask for help.
I think the assignments were more challenging. I believe the syllabus was well detailed as to how we would get to the process, and I've received lots and lots of help from my professors. I could call them, which was new to me. I've never called a professor at home to ask them about an assignment. They were always available in their office during office hours, and they were just always there, and they understand being a master's student versus a full-time teacher, and being a wife, they actually worked with me in the process, and I really did appreciate that.
That is something that really sets this program apart, is the amount of real-world experience, and also the amount of experience that our professors bring to the education, having worked at Boeing and Microsoft and other Fortune 500 companies.
I really actually appreciate the faculty in the TESOL program quite a bit. It's not a huge program, so there isn't a lot of faculty, but they work very hard, and they really do a great job of getting to know the students and providing the sort of approach, I guess, that they know those students are going to need, and providing the help that they're going to need. Dr. Bartholomew and Dr. Nemchanova, both of whom are very excellent teachers, and really appreciated their guidance and leadership throughout this program.
The relationships I developed with the faculty was meaningful for me. They gave me role models to look to. They gave me guidance that I applied to my work, and they shared their lives with me outside of the program, and that was a very meaningful experience as well.
Get to know your professors. They're not just your teachers, they're your colleagues, and they want to be your colleagues. And some of them will turn into mentors and friends. So get to know them. Don't be afraid to go to their office hours and just say, hey, you don't have to go in asking about an assignment. Just going to talk to them and sharing with them, and you'll find it to be very interesting. Even in the School of Theology, for me, sometimes they would pray for me when I would go through things, or just be there to encourage me or challenge me. I found most of the challenging times I had in the program were going to office hours, not so much in the classroom, because it was one-on-one, just conversation. In the MBA program, they're really eager to help you and mentor you. Take advantage of the mentorship programs, and really just make good use of that 2 or 3 year experience. Don't let it pass you by, because you only get this short amount of time in your life to really embrace everything. So I would just say go for it, open yourself up, and watch and see what God really does with it.
Having the classes at night, it was great. I mean, it's tough because there was that balance of you're done with your day and you want to go home and unwind, but you're going to class and it's going to be rigorous. And then there's balancing your family with it. And so having those conversations and making sure that your family is there supporting it too. But again, for me, that's one of the strengths of the cohort is you're not doing this alone. Yes, the faculty and the staff are there, but even more than that, you have the other people in your cohort going through this together. You
meet in a small consult group with your colleagues, and you talk about cases, you talk about life, you talk about the self of the therapist and your growth throughout the program. And I was with a group of students that, we became very good friends. It was a very meaningful time to share both our personal and professional lives together.
The Abbey component is something where they involve us creating some type of family or connection. Most seminaries don't have anything close to that. It's really just the whole academic part and the real hardcore theological part. So what made this program so cool was that we would have to go to Camp Casey for a whole 5 days. We're all locked together. These are adults all confined together in one space, just to really kind of jumpstart our theological education. So it provides us time to be vulnerable, to share, and to really get to know one another and find comfort in the fact that we're all here starting this out together. I mean, no one is starting at a higher place than anyone else, and so that kind of brought us all together. So as we were going through the program, we could rely on each other and connect with one another, pray for one another, encourage one another. Those things were so vital, especially going back to graduate school. You're already anxious as it is, and it was less stress on the academic part and more welcoming on the building the family and the connection.
Currently, I'm a psychology postdoctoral fellow at the Child Study and Treatment Center, and that is an inpatient psychiatric facility for children and adolescents, and it's down in Lakewood, Washington. I'm doing individual therapy as well as group and family intervention, and doing some assessments and leading a lot of groups, which has been really fun. And I've really been given a lot of freedom to create groups that I wanted to and to do the research that I wanted to, and so it's really been a wonderful experience.
I was really lucky to find out about an internship position at Starbucks, and I was offered the position about 2 weeks before graduation, and so it was great timing. I took it, and I took it as a full-time paid internship. Some of my roles include qualitative and quantitative research. And so we're using all of the data that comes in to process it and write reports that we will use to inform the senior leaders about what employees are really excited about, what changes have left them less satisfied, less engaged. It's a year-over-year survey that gives really important results that drive change within the organization.
By the time you enter the program, you realize you're already going to make it. And the goal no longer becomes to become a nurse practitioner. You're already going to do that. The goal becomes how you want to do that and what kind of nurse practitioner you want to be and how you want to represent the program and the university. So
if I had to describe my SPU experience in one word, it would be life-changing. And I say that because my life coming into the program and then transitioning into the other program is nowhere near close to the same. From things I've experienced personally, professionally, academically, my life has been enriched because of the time I've spent here at SPU. I don't regret it. I'm enthusiastic about it and excited about it, and I feel like this was the best life-changing experience I possibly could have had.